may be cold and quiet at the moment, but in less than a month, the Pittsburgh Pirates will open up the 2016 regular season against the St. Louis Cardinals in their home ballpark. The snow will have melted away, as will the memory of that cold loss to the Chicago Cubs in that wild card game. From the Pirates' summer home to their winter home, McKechnie Field in Bradenton, Florida. It's the first of a dozen spring training games coming your way here on Root Sports. It is Pirate Fest here on the streets of McKechnie Field in Bradenton. We are joined here on this pirate ship by members of the DeSoto Historical Society. Greg Brown along with Bob Walk. Bob, there's nothing like spring training.
It is wonderful to get down here. I look forward to it. I mean, all winter, come down in this wonderful sunshine. It's such a history here with the Pittsburgh Pirates to come down to Bradenton. It almost feels like us, along with Hernando DeSoto here, have been coming down since 1539. But it's just wonderful to be here, and I can't wait for today's ball game.
Of course, we always see new faces every spring on the field and in the broadcast booth. We have a new face. Joe Block joins the Pittsburgh Pirates broadcast team this year. Joe, great to have you. You got to be excited.
It's great to be here, and wow, I mean, if you guys do like this every time, this is going to be so much fun to be here. Look at this.
Well, this is exciting. This won't be every game, but we'll try. Joe, looking forward to being with us on the broadcast team. We're looking forward to bringing you Pittsburgh Pirates baseball here on Root Sports. Right, guys? Olé! The Pirates and the Minnesota Twins. Francisco Liriano takes them out this afternoon. We'll bring you baseball next on Root Sports.
Has arrived. Break out your bat and glove and get ready to dig in.
On Root Sports is presented by McDonald's. And it's a breezy afternoon, pleasant temperature, sun is shining here in Florida, the west coast of the Sunshine State. Francisco Liriano will take the mound and make his first spring training start of the year. Liriano, a dozen victories during the regular season last year. And Pirate fans on hand getting ready for spring training baseball. Check out the Twins starting lineup. Under Paul Molitor, Danny Santana will lead things off. Eduardo Nunez to follow, and Kenys Vargas. Carlos Quentin trying to win a job as a non-roster player. Ryan Sweeney, John Ryan Murphy, the Bradenton native, will follow. Then Oswaldo Arcia, Max Kepler, and Jorge Polanco for the Minnesota Twins, who went 83-79 last year, and a former Twin, Francisco Liriano, on the mound for the Buccos. Last year's numbers, Bob.
I had a very strong year. Again, the one thing that maybe would like to see out of him, and we'll talk about that quite a bit as the spring goes along, is get those innings up a little. Maybe get up over 200 innings. One of the things that Francisco has always been plagued with is high pitch counts early in ball games. He strikes out a ton of guys, and that seems to always take a few extra pitches.
Ready for his fourth year in a Pirates uniform, and we're underway. John Hirschbeck behind the plate, this umpiring crew. Danny Santana played in 91 games for the Twins last year, hit just .215. 0-2. We've been told that Major League Baseball is going to come down harder on teams to bring their starters on the road. It's supposed to bring at least 4, we understand, but maybe 1 starter in the lineup today for the Twins. This Grapefruit League game up from Fort Myers, where they train. Paul Molitor led his team to 83 wins last year after 4 straight seasons of 92 or more losses. So there is promise once again in the Twin Cities.
Now the Twins, really for years, they seem to be the poster boys for overachievers. For a small market, they really done their share of winning over, heck, the last 20 years or so.
Danny Santana getting the start at third base. Trevor Plouffe is the regular third baseman for Minnesota. Liriano, who struck out 205 last season, becoming just the 3rd lefty in Pittsburgh Pirates history to accomplish that feat, strikes out Danny Santana.
It definitely is one of the reasons why he does get that pitch count up. And if you turn the clock back 30 years ago, he probably would pitch some complete games and go a little deeper. You would see more of that with the strikeout guys, but it's so difficult to be in double figures in strikeouts in a lot of games, and at the same time go deep in those games.
You see our Barrel Automotive League leaders stat, last season's major league leaders in swing and miss percentage. Liriano at the top of that list in the major leagues.
He's so good at getting guys to chase balls out of the strike zone, to go after his pitches. He really doesn't get in situations where he's, has to give in to the hitter. He might be in that situation, but it seems like he never does. He's still going to try and make the hitter hit what he wants, where he wants the ball to be. Oh, look at that. There's a little paint on the inside corner.
Wanted the ball to be right there, and it was. Back-to-back strikeouts in his spring training debut.
Now that's mid-season control. Cervelli glove right on the inside corner and didn't have to move it.
Switch hitting first baseman Kenys Vargas. Strike 1. Vargas hit .240 in 58 games last year for Minnesota. And 0-2. Ray Searage with Manny Sanguillen there. Manny Sanguillen, a guest instructor, one of the more popular Pirates players of all time. Sanguillen, and behind him another Pirates catcher, Mike LaValliere, and 3 batters faced, 3 strikeouts for Liriano in his spring debut. Pirates are coming to bat here in Bradenton. Josh Harrison will lead things off for the Pirates, getting the start at second base. This is the fourth game on the Grapefruit League schedule and our first telecast here on Root Sports. We check out the lineup. Gregory Polanco to follow, then Andrew McCutchen. Starling Marte will hit cleanup as the designated hitter. Francisco Cervelli, Jordy Mercer, and John Jaso. And then Sean Rodriguez and Cole Figueroa. So a lot of the starters, it could be an opening day look, with the exception perhaps of third base. Not sure about Jung Ho Gung's status, whether he'll be ready by opening day.
That Pirate lineup kind of opposite of the Twins. A lot of your everyday players in the lineup for the Bucks.
Strike on Harrison. Tommy Malone, the lefty, should be part of this Twins rotation. Last year's numbers.
Yeah, solid numbers. A ERA under 4. Opponent batting average of 260. All of that's in pretty good shape. Oh, good changeup. I would think that if you're on early in spring training with that changeup, that is probably a pitch that's going to give the hitters the toughest time, because they're working on the timing. And that's exactly what the changeup is, supposed to try and destroy, is that timing.
Josh Harrison, who doubled down the line in left field in one of his at-bats yesterday, rips a single into center. Jay already with 6 at-bats, 7 plate appearances early on this spring. Now Gregory Polanco. Beautiful day for baseball. Polanco, who hit .256 last year, 9 homers, first full year in the big leagues.
Be nice to see that home run total get up there, maybe let's say 15 to 20 range, somewhere in there.
Looks like he's trying to put on muscle, but that's a bigger Polanco this year.
Well, we know he has the power and the strength to do that.
So you can see right there, that frame. In fact, the Pirates media guide lists him as 10 pounds heavier this year. Ball and a strike on Polanco with Andrew McCutchen on deck.
That was a good thinking. Santana playing deep. If he got that ball down anywhere near the line, it would have been a no-brainer base hit. Bunt attempt. Thinking about bunting anyway.
So 2-1, just underway. Gregory Polanco, now 24 years old. from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic.
Pirates been using the running game quite a bit here early, first week of spring training. One of the things that they've been talking about is trying to play spring games more like they would in the regular season. Is try and do something to get off to a better start in the month of April, which is really cost them the last 2 seasons. The poor starts in April.
It's interesting. Sorry, Bob, go ahead.
I bring that up because this is a perfect situation to maybe start Jay to stay out of a double play, if anything else.
Three and one. And there goes Josh Harrison. Strike is called, and a stolen base. Already the 3rd steal in the 4th spring training game, and now 5 attempts for the Bucks. But it is interesting because that seems to be the focus of the Pirates. We'll talk to Clint Hurdle, by the way, in the top of the 3rd inning there with bench coach Dave Jaso, trying to get off to a better start. But it's not like the Pirates were awful in April. They actually were 2 games over 500 April of last year, and just 500 in May the following month. There's a fly ball to shallow right center field, and no, that ball was trapped by the center fielder Max Kepler. A base hit for Polanco, and it's 1st and 3rd. And 1st and 3rd, Andrew McCutchen.
But I think that's below their target area for the first 2 months of the season. You know what I mean?
I do, but I understand, but they won 98 games last year. And as Francisco Cervelli said, we do want to try and win as many as you can, but we did win 98, so we don't want to do things too much differently, to upset the routine.
Yeah, I understand. But I do know that in my mind, it's an absolute fact. If they would have played better early in the year, that 98 would have probably had them in first place, because some of those wins would have been against the Cardinals.
I think
against the Cubs.
The answer
played
is
poorly in the old division.
Look at the division.
Just
win more games, whether it's April or August. Beat the teams in your own division, and then you would have maybe 102, which is, we're getting greedy here. They won 98 games for the 6th time in the history of the franchise.
That's why those division games are so important, because it's maybe not necessarily all about the wins for yourself, but it's about handing losses to those other guys.
Yep.
So that your 98's good enough.
Right. 3 years now combined, the Pirates have the 2nd best record in all of baseball. Been to the postseason 3 straight years. Andrew McCutchen got off to in fact, he took it upon himself to start turning things around in May when he was hovering around 200. Well, last year he turned it on, ended up with a 292 average, 23 homers, 96 RBIs. Went to his 5th straight All-Star game, 4th consecutive Silver Slugger Award, and the 2015 Roberto Clemente Award winner in Major League Baseball.
I guess it would be more proper to say get the offense off to a better start early in the year. Because really, if you look at it, the pitching is kind of, as always, with every good team, kind of carries things. It's the offensive the part of things that they don't get rolling until the weather warms up. For whatever reason.
Now, remember, McCutchen didn't play a heck of a lot last spring.
In spring training,
we didn't see much of McCutchen at all until maybe the last few games. They were trying to really watch that knee. And so you're going to see a lot more of Andrew McCutchen spring training this year.
There's no magic formula either.
Right.
I mean, you can teams have done this in the past too. You try to play a lot. You try to rest your starters. I mean, everybody has their own theory on how to get off to a good start coming in April, and there's no real answer to this is what you have to do. If there was,
everybody would do it, right?
Exactly.
It's like a pitcher, Bob, and we've seen this over the years. A pitcher gets off to, Polanco decides to stop. I hope he's okay. Might have been better served just going into a slide.
late,
close
I don't
to the bag.
What was going on with that one? He seemed to be looking over toward third base several times after the play. He's looking over his shoulder.
Looked like there, if he slides, he's safe. So it's going to strike him out, throw him out, double play.
I don't think it was like a straight steal. They probably told him, just, you're moving on this pitch. Stay out of any double play ball. And in his mind, I'll bet you he just thought, well, I got such a bad break, I'm going to be out easy. Maybe he was thinking about getting a rundown. Trying to do a J-Hay.
Yeah. So now Marte playing a DH today. Gold Glove winner with his play in left field last year. I'm sure we'll talk more as the spring goes on about trying to get off to a faster start in April, but I was just saying, it's kind of like those pitchers who struggle in the first inning but then turn it on the rest of the way. We've heard, pitching coaches do all kinds of different things in the bullpen. He's not going to warm up as much, or he's going to warm up more in the bullpen before a start. Like you said, if you could figure it out, everybody would do it.
Some things it's just not an answer to.
2-1 on Marte.
Goes along with the fact that how meaningless somebody's spring numbers can be as to what's going to happen when the season starts.
High fly ball to right center field, and Breeze getting that ball over toward right, and Kepler cannot make the catch, so Marte, he's just going to coast to third. He's there with a triple.
Yeah, typical McKechnie Field extra base hit, where the ball is hit very high in the air, and the outfielders just can't get to it. The ball just keeps getting pushed away from them. A little bit of a breeze coming in off the ocean, pushing everything out toward right field. They're also having to look back up into the sun. We see it every single season. Just such a difficult outfield to play.
Well, Max Kepler.
Doesn't it always just looks like the outfielders they're surprised that the ball gets over their head.
Mm-hmm. Ball hit in the air to center. Kepler coming in. And Cervelli is retired. Bucks pick up a run in the first inning. Spring training 2016 from McKechnie Field. Tremendous improvements the last couple of years, including that boardwalk here at beautiful McKechnie Field.
You know, Greg, how PNC Park has become a destination for people to go see big league baseball games? I get the same feeling from talking to people, fans, that McKechnie Field here in Florida has become one of those destination places. Everybody wants to go and see at least one game here. And look at the view is because it's kind of like walking into a time machine, going back and seeing what a baseball park looked like in the 50s and 60s. But with the modern, amenities and stuff to where it's really comfortable. It's just a fabulous little place. And the Pirates, the city of Bradenton, they have done a phenomenal job of putting this together. It's such a great place to come in the sunshine and watch these spring games.
It is a gem. The friendly city of Bradenton, Florida. And now, after striking out the first 3 batters he faced, Francisco Liriano opposes veteran Carlos Quentin. And Carlos Quentin looked like his career might be over last year. And he's trying to get back to the big leagues now, 33 years old, a non-roster invitee for the Twins. Last spring training was in Arizona with the Padres. And traded to Atlanta, part of the Craig Kimbrell deal, first week of April. A week later, the Braves released him. The Mariners picked him up in late April, and they released him a week later. Carlos Quentin drove in 100 runs with the White Sox in 2008. Handful of years with Chicago, and parts of 3 seasons with San Diego.
Well, he does have that track record, though, where he could add some thump to your lineup.
He is DHing today, but most nights the Twins are hoping that the South Korean import Byung-ho Park, whom the Twins signed after winning the negotiating rights on a $12.85 million bid, the former teammate of Jung-ho Gang Park, and now Quentin is the 4th straight strikeout victim for Liriano.
Yeah, Liriano again just paints that inside corner with the fastball. Just bottle up what you got going right now and take it into April.
The annual question I ask you.
Go ahead.
Do you prefer, as a pitcher, to be on like this at the very beginning? Does it almost make you nervous to be this good early on?
Well, from a personal standpoint, I always wanted to be on early because I was trying to make the team. So, wasn't that many years where I could just walk in and say, okay, I got things on. I'm just going to get in shape now. No, I always wanted to do well early just to kind of make myself feel a little more secure. But everybody is probably different. I mean, that's the easy cop-out answer. You know, I think some guys would rather feel more comfortable if they had to pick or choose later on. You know, and there's some players, especially guys like Francisco, that, you know, he knows exactly where he's going to be come first week of April. And what he's worried about is getting out of spring training, feeling good, and being healthy. That's the main thing with veteran guys. They're very secure, a lot of success, like Francisco. That's their main thought.
Well, he's ahead. This veteran Ryan Sweeney, a ball and 2 strikes.
You know, I think more than anything else in spring, you just don't want to go out there and be wild and walk a bunch of people. That's embarrassing. You know, even if you're giving up a bunch of hits, you know, that's okay. But nobody's even going to notice. They're going to turn the page. Well, he's aggressive. He was in the strike zone. You can always say, I was working on this, working on that. But when you go out there and you can't throw a strike and you walk 3 guys in 1 inning, that's tough to kind of cover up.
No issues whatsoever as he jammed Sweeney and hit the soft liner to Josh Harrison. MLB.TV Premium, everything you have come to expect and more. New low price for 2016. Watch every out-of-market game of all 30 teams live in true HD on over 400 supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. The Bradenton native John Ryan Murphy bounces a 2-hopper to Jordy Mercer. That's about as clean as it gets for your first spring outing. Francisco Liriano, 2 spotless, perfect innings. One 1-0 ball game. The Pirates lead it here at McKechnie Field. Sunshine, smiles, baseball caps, baseball fans. Go Buccos, Cranberry, PA, rooting all the way to Bucktober. Congratulations, our first Root Sports sign. That's dedication, Bob. Bringing the sign down here
on the first
telecast.
First telecast.
Yep. Jordy Mercer. He's looking to get off to a strong start.
Now, Jordy is capable of so much offensively that he teases us a little bit with, a real hot month here, hot month there, and he's going to put it together. He's going to have one of those seasons. And obviously, as well as he plays out in the field, I mean, he's got the physical talents to become one of the elite type shortstops. Once he puts the offense together.
Missed about a month with a sprained MCL against the Brewers. A tag play. Injured his knee. In July of last year. Still hit .244 with 3 homers, 34 ribbies. Begins his 4th full season in the big leagues.
I think he can get into double figures easily in home runs, don't you?
I do, yep. Lifts this one to center. There's Max Kepler. For the first out here in the second.
And I kind of bringing up this, Polanco, he's going to hit more home runs. Mercer's probably, because that's one thing we're going to be looking for this year. Is the increased power from different guys to try and make up for, Pedro Alvarez is not going to be in that lineup. And what was that, 27 home runs?
And Neil Walker.
But, I think in a little bit of this, you're going to see Jung Ho, who's going to be basically an everyday player now. He's going to make up for a lot of it.
And they're hoping also, Bob, I do believe that they're going to, with a guy like John Jaso, who's not a home run hitter, I think his career high 10 a few years ago, going to make more contact, get on base more often.
Yeah, offense is not always a home run ball. Cardinals didn't hit a lot of home runs last night.
John Jaso, been a guy that over the years, high on base percentage. John Jaso, our 12th round pick of the Tampa Bay Rays in 2003. And this one dropping toward left center and will drop in front of Arcia. John Jaso, the new bucko. He'll platoon at first base with likely Michael Morse. Jaso learning that new position, first base. Former catcher and DH. Has played only 5 big league innings at that first base position, so he's in a crash course over there this month. And now Sean Rodriguez, hoping that Rodriguez becomes more of the utility type player he was meant to be when they traded for him last winter from the Tampa Bay Rays, but he ended up being the reliever at first base for Pedro Alvarez most games.
Yeah, he went in for the last couple innings, just about. He's kind of more like a closer than a reliever. If Pirates were ahead, he was going to play first.
Kind of handcuffed Clint Hurdle when you think about it, because he had to hold Rodriguez until later in ball games, and really became exclusively a first baseman. We saw Clint Hurdle there. We will talk to the Pirates skipper in the top of the third coming up next half inning. Sean Rodriguez back with the Bucks. 30-year-old Miami native. This will be his 9th big league season coming up. Second year with Pittsburgh. Tommy Malone with a 1-2 pitch. Two and two. First of 4 meetings with the Twins this spring. They train a couple hours south down in Fort Myers. And the first of 12 telecasts here on Root Sports. Record number of games to bring you, thanks to the folks at Root Sports and to the Pirates. Team President Frank Coonley and Director of Florida Operations Trevor Gooby. A lot of work to provide you with a dozen TV games. It'll bring up now Cole Figueroa. First base battle. Last year's statistics. Well, Jake Gobert had played in the minor leagues with the Padres last year. He's a left-hand hitting first baseman. Hit .294 in the minor leagues. John Jaso's big league numbers you see. Michael Morse, Sean Rodriguez, and Jason Rogers was acquired this winter from the Milwaukee Brewers. He can play some first and third and outfield. He played third base yesterday here at McKechnie. This is an interesting guy here, Cole Figueroa. The Pirates like what he can do defensively. Second, short, third, corner outfield. Played left field yesterday. Has already made a couple of fine defensive plays this spring. Number of years in the minor leagues. Cole Figueroa, 28 years old, Tallahassee, Florida native, a non-roster invitee, and a .290 career hitter in the minor leagues. The son of the former big leaguer Bien Figueroa, longtime Cardinal. A little delayed steal from John Jaso, and he is going to be out at second base. So John Jaso is the third out after Sean Rodriguez struck out. We'll talk to Clint Hurdle next. And we are back here at McKechnie Field. You see the outer concourse there, a couple of Bucco fans lounging, relaxing, taking in some sunshine. Mark Melancon now on the mound, and we're joined by the Pirates skipper, Clint Hurdle. Clint, thanks so much for being with us. I know the first week or so you get 1,000 questions about this spring. Is it any different than years past with you? And I think I heard you on a radio show say, you know, we did win 98 games, but we didn't complete the task, so why would we do things the same? So you are kind of mixing things up this spring, aren't you?
Yeah, we actually have mixed some things up every spring. We reevaluate the season. We look at the areas that we came up short or we didn't feel like we played at a championship level. And we put in drills, we put in reps, we put in all those types of things to increase that opportunity to get better at them during the spring.
Is pushing things a little bit as far as on the base paths in spring training, is it something that's a little different? It just seems like in the first couple of games we're seeing a lot of running.
We're going to continue to run till we get it right. Our base running's got to improve, and I think one of the ways you can improve it is by being more active, whether it be a hit and run. We put a delayed steal on with John Jaso. John was a little bit of a hurry there. It wasn't the best effort for a delayed steal. He's got work to do on that, as do all our guys, but we're going to get active on the bases. We're going to get moving. And I do believe it's something that we need to improve upon. The only way to do it is to use it in spring.
In that delayed steal scenario, why a delay rather than a straight steal? What are the difference between those two?
Well, number one, if your pitcher is still releasing the ball at a fairly competitive speed, you got a left-handed pitcher on the mound. He's got a good move. He can hold a little bit, so he's a tough guy to straight steal on. You have a left-handed batter that kind of blocks the catcher's eye on the right side, so if you just give it your normal shuffle, you know, the catcher can drop his head, maybe the middle infielder drops his head, and then you break and run. That's the reason for the delayed steal. It's not a guy that you can just sell out, not slow enough to just sell out and run on. You're actually, in delayed steal, you're trying to take advantage of either the catcher or the second baseman shortstop.
Clint, I guess that's Full Metal Jacket. Is that right?
Yes.
So that's another early Clint Hurdle quote. We're going Full Metal Jacket on them.
We're going to play the game from the start of the game. When they say play ball, we're going to do it. I do believe it's one of the areas we need to work on and improve. It's not about feeling this or feeling that. I've given the guys a heads up. I want you working early, practicing, all that feel and that touch and all those things need to happen early. Come game time, it's play and compete. Let's go.
It looked like Francisco got that message.
Well, you know, they all get the message, and when they perform well, it looks better. And when it doesn't work out that way, that's why you just keep practicing. You keep reminding them. You keep working on things.
Andrew McCutchen in the shot there. Clint, this is certainly a different spring for him, isn't it? He's going to be, it seems, though, that he's going to be able to take this month and really prepare. Last year, maybe kind of watching that knee a little bit, didn't play as much, but it looks as though he's ready to go to play a bunch this spring.
Yes, he's healthy. He showed up early. He was at Pirate City 2 weeks before the report date. He's gotten his game on, his physical game. He's got his mental game on. He's working through routines. He's involved in all baseball activity. He had a stolen base attempt the other day, the first game he played this spring, which is something that hasn't been happening here in the past. He's tried to work into things. So he's in a position where he's geared up and ready to go.
Speaking of Andrew and really the rest of the outfielders, everyone, I guess one of the things you guys are trying in spring training is to have them play a little shallower, move the outfield in a little bit?
Yes, Bob. It goes back to our evaluation from last year. We had more damage done in front of us than over our head. That being said, we've got ground ball pitchers. We've got a park that plays big. You'd like to think that, you initially want to stay away from extra base hits, the slugging percentage balls, the triples. Homers are homers. They're over the park. Everybody's heading out of the park. So we're looking at doubles, triples. We're looking at the singles that cause damage. We're looking at the bases we gave up when the outfielders had to come get a ball, first to third, no question, no play. So it was glaring for us that it's time for us to make a defensive adjustment. We have quality guys. We have speed. We need to play in. I still believe, I'm very confident the fact balls hit over their head that stay in the park, we'll be able to go back and get, but we'll take away a lot of the action in front of us.
Clint Hurdle joining us with the Pirates leading 1-0. Mark Melancon on the mound. Mark looks just as strong as ever now, Clint. He was telling Stan Savran before the game he's hoping to get 10 or 11 innings in for the spring. This is just kind of typical Mark Melancon, isn't it?
Well, the velocity is going to pick up as we go. He had an outing the other day. This is his second. We've got Watson and Mark both scheduled for 11 innings. They'll pitch some back-to-back days here. They'll pitch one back-to-back day in the Grapefruit League. They'll pitch another back-to-back day over at Pirate City. They'll throw a 2-inning stint just to get stretched out and throw all their pitches over at Pirate City as well. He got a late start last year when he went and played in that for Team USA or whatever it was. He got a late start. No replay here.
Would you go for replay on that play?
No.
What about John Jaso learning that position? Clint, tell us some of the nuances and what he needs to work on.
It's all about reps. It's about footwork. It's about game speed. You can take as many ground balls as you want, but it's action plays. There's an action play right there. That play where you're holding a guy on first, pitcher throws over, runner breaks, creating a lane, making a throw. Playing behind the runner, first and second, deep ground ball to your left, reverse pivot, throw to second. So we're also recreating a lot of opportunities. Basically, we're playing a defensive game on the backfields when he doesn't play with runners and infielders, creating situations to help give him more opportunity to get engaged in baseball plays, not just the ground ball fielding thing, but with runners moving and with things at stake.
Clint, are there tangible things that you could see from Jaso? You've been around certainly long enough to know that this guy is going to be just fine at first base.
Well, the biggest tangible thing is he turned down a couple deals to go be a DH for 2 years, and the same money that we spent on him. He wanted to play baseball. He wanted to work and stay on the field in some capacity. He can't catch. That was taken away from him. It's not that he doesn't want to catch or he wasn't any good. It was because of the concussions. That was taken away from him. So he preferred to look for an opportunity, to hunt an opportunity where he could stay engaged. We'll see where it goes. The want to is huge. He has an edge. He plays hungry. He wants to get some things done. Those are things that we find attractive in players, the hunger, the edge, the want to, and we're going to help him with the how to.
Batter now, Danny Santana with a runner at first and 2 outs and a 1-0 Pirates lead. Talking with the Pirates skipper Clint Hurdle, who led the Pirates to a 98-64 record last year, second most wins in all of Major League Baseball. Team that's been to the playoffs 3 straight years. Clint, it's just a nice fit. You, this team, and the city, not only of Pittsburgh, but of Bradenton. You just must love this time of year.
I do. It's fantastic. I think somebody actually asked me the other day, I said, man, if you can't get up for this, you need to go home. You need to get out of everybody's way that does love it. Just go home. There's too much going on. There's a reason for optimism. There's a reason for positivity. To come down here and plug into Florida, my family and I come down and plug in for 3 months. We put the kids in school. We live out on the island. We're blessed to be a part of this organization at a very creative and fun time, a time where we're creating a new history. With the people I get to work with, the organization I get to work for, the fans we get to represent, I couldn't be any happier and humbled to be where I am at right now, wearing a Pirate uniform, being the manager of this ball club.
Well, you and Neil are really, you guys have brought so much pride back in this organization. I mean, I can't congratulate you guys enough, because it's the changes around here just haven't been with the hammers and nails. You know, you look around the ballpark, the changes really started out in that clubhouse and with the team and being winners again. And you two guys have really just brought miracles to this organization.
It's been so much fun. I think what Neil and I, where we are connected so well and so strong, is that the joy we get is watching the joy on everybody else's faces. Your face, Bob.
Yeah.
The players that played before, the men that poured so much into this organization. We went on hard times. It was hard. It's hard for you. It's hard for Blas. It's hard for TeCulvey, Manny, when things don't go well. And now to have that's you got a quicker step. You got more life in your body. There's more joy in your life. Look, the different lens you're able to bring to the games now in broadcasting. Brownie's seen it all. Jimmy Tredenich, Greg Johnson, so many people in the organization that have been through the good days, the good old days, and then the lean, skinny, hungry years, and now to boost it back up. Man, good stuff.
Can't wait to get it started. Clint, thanks so much for being with us.
You're welcome. Have a great day, man.
1-0 Buccos from Bradenton.
Pirates Spring Training Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by McDonald's All-Day Breakfast. Breakfast has been liberated. By Bordas & Bordas, official legal partner of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Visit bordaslaw.com. And by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go Bucks!
Things off. I'm guessing that maybe Cole Figueroa struck out to end the second, huh? We'd assume that Jaso had been thrown out on the botched delayed steal. Clint Hurdle was talking about that, but Harrison leads off, so hey, it's spring training. As Max Kepler makes the play. Ryan Presley, the new pitcher. Tommy Malone goes 2 innings. Malone will be part of the Twins rotation in 2016, a rotation that improved dramatically under first-year pitching coach Neil Allen. 2014, Twins starters had an ERA of 5.06. They cut that down to 4.14 last year. As Gregory Polanco showed bunt in that first at bat before delivering a base hit to center field. Shows bunt here and takes a strike.
Yeah, we got our first look last year at the Target Field.
Yes.
It looked like a decent place to pitch in.
Yeah.
I would imagine they'll be able to have some pretty good pitching numbers over the years there. Kind of similar to PNC Park, where it's just a nice, fair ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
I think the tendency over the last couple of decades has been to build more hitters type ballpark, to bring in fences real close. Got to have those home runs.
Oh yeah, a must.
I got it.
There you go.
So bad.
0-2 on Polanco. And Gregory Polanco is 2 for 2. This year's Pittsburgh Pirates Home Run 5K 10K, presented by Allegheny Health Network in Highmark, is set for Saturday, April 16th. Participants get a Tech t-shirt and ticket voucher, good for a Pirates game. Families can join in the fun with the Chick-fil-A 1 mile family fun run. Register today at pirates.com/home run. That's become very popular over the years. And speaking of popular, Andrew McCutchen. A runner at first and 1 out. Polanco looked like he might want to get going.
Looked like he had a pretty good jump if he would have took off. I believe the Twins thought he had a pretty good jump.
Mm-hmm. It is good, great to see McCutchen playing this early after being held out much of spring training last year. The 2013 Most Valuable Player. Andrew McCutchen, 28 years old. There goes Polanco. And hit in the air to Ryan Sweeney for the second out.
You can see how that ball there, kind of just a routine fly ball, but it kept pushing out there a little further, a little further, a little further. Now this is a great ballpark for offense because of those flags right there. And Marte, his last time up, just about got one over the fence.
You get the sense, Bob, that Marte is just on the cusp of having that bust-out year. I mean, he certainly has the talent. We know that.
You know, I'm not sure what his home run total is totally capable of. You know, I don't think he would ever be thought of as, okay, this guy's a home run hitter. But I think there's still room for him definitely to grow as that complete player. You know, the batting average up above 300. You know, certainly over 20 home runs.
19 homers last year and a .287 average with 81 RBIs and 30 steals.
And as we've seen, when he stays focused, like he did most of the time last year, he's incredible out in the outfield. Great defender. There were a few times last year where it didn't happen very often, but you could see him kind of take a play off.
He's almost so good defensively that's kind of when he takes a play off.
Absolutely,
he just kind of lollygags after the ball, thinking the guy's not going to run on him.
Yeah, that's the plays that he does take off when there's a base hit to his left or right. Sometimes it.
Polanco goes again, and a liner to short.
It's like, well, they're not going to run on me, and that's when somebody might.
1-0 Pirates from McKechnie.
Pirates Spring Training Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the brand new all-wheel drive Toyota RAV4 Drive Hybrid. There's so much to discover with just one tank. And by UPMC, life-changing medicine. Let's go Bucks!
Beautiful McKechnie Field in Bradenton, Florida, and the Pirates leading 1-0. Fourth Grapefruit League game of this 2016 schedule. The Pirates will head to Orlando, take on the Braves tomorrow. Neftali Feliz, new addition to the Pirates bullpen, the former Texas Rangers closer. He signed a $3.9 million deal 1 year with the Pirates this past winter. Split last season with the Rangers and Tigers and struggled. Once one of the best closers in baseball. Returned from Tommy John surgery in 2013.
Yeah, that bullpen of the Pirates could have a very high ceiling this year, couldn't it?
If they could get Feliz to anything close, they're back to that lights out bullpen. And there's a gapper by Eduardo Nunez, at least a couple. He can really fly. And he's going to head to third, and he'll make it easily. So a triple for Eduardo Nunez to start the top of the fourth inning. But Neftali Feliz initially signed with the Braves as a free agent, dealt to the Rangers, part of the Elvis Andrus, Jared Saltalamacchia deal. Mark Teixeira involved in the Rookie of the Year and an All-Star in 2010 with 40 saves with the Rangers. And then that Tommy John surgery in 2012. Feliz was released by the Rangers last summer and signed with the Detroit Tigers over the winter of free agent contract with Pittsburgh. The Rangers decided to non-tender Feliz rather than pay him the $5 million he likely would have made through arbitration. To make room for Feliz, the Pirates designated for assignment catcher Tony Sanchez. Now, Kenys Vargas, who struck out against Francisco Liriano in the first inning. Tony Sanchez signed with Toronto, I believe.
I don't know, Greg. I didn't see where he signed.
I believe he did.
You know, Tony's a guy that you really root for.
Oh, you do. Yeah.
It's a strange situation he got caught up in, and you know, Russell Martin came on the scene and was so good, and then Francisco Cervelli last year. He really took over the job, and definitely is one of the better catchers now in the National League. The question with Cervelli was, could he stay healthy all year? That's always been a problem for him. And with those two things, and you know, a couple good young catchers and coming up behind him, he just was in one of those positions. He got squeezed out, and it's not like he doesn't have talent to be a big leaguer. There were some challenges for him on defense with his throwing, but
Francisco Cervelli last year, Bob was talking about how getting squeezed out, and at the big league level it is Francisco Cervelli in his second year, set new career highs, games caught, hits, homers, RBIs. Tremendous year. Third Pirates catcher since 1987 to catch at least 128 games in a season. Certainly stayed healthy. There's a run-scoring single for Kenys Vargas. Ties the game.
But you certainly can see with the young Cervelli and those numbers that we're just looking at, there just was no place for him to fit in. And a lot of times, and I think it goes the theory here with the Buccos, that number 2 guy has to be a plus as a defender. You know, some teams they won't look at it that way, but I think most teams do. And you don't want a young guy that maybe is defensively challenged to be that number 2 guy. A veteran guy that is really a great defensive catcher, like Stewart is, to be the number 2 guy.
That is the catching tandem for the Pirates, Francisco Cervelli and Chris Stewart. Stewart signed a contract extension with the Pirates. But waiting in the wings, Elias Diaz will be next in line in terms of the Pirates minor leagues. Diaz and Tony Sanchez going to split the catching duties at AAA Indianapolis last year. It'll be almost exclusively Diaz for Indianapolis this season. Mercer to Harrison to Jaso on a double play. And Reese McGuire is the other catcher in the Pirates system that we'll be watching closely. We'll be also watching the new slide rule implemented by Major League Baseball. Just a few weeks ago, it was made official. And there's the run-scoring single that Kenys Vargas
delivered. Set up the slide.
Yes, it did. Vargas was the man at first base after that hit. going from first to second.
But that is something I'm sure that is going to get talked about a lot the first couple of weeks anyway, maybe even a couple of months. Who knows? But not really a whole lot of changes technically from what was allowed before. It's just the umpires, I think, are going to be encouraged to, when someone slides wide, to make a call.
I think it's going to be just kind of common sense again.
Yeah.
If it's blatant, going after the infielder,
Yeah.
rule the runner and the batter out. 1-1 ball game.
In the first of 12 spring training broadcasts here on Root Sports, it's a 1-1 game as we hit the bottom half of inning number 4. We're getting a look at Jung-Ho Kang doing a media interview with the Korean media that has making their way all throughout Grapefruit League action to see many of the Korean players that have made their way to Major League Baseball. I'm Robbie and Smikowski as we get a look at today's Allegheny Health Network injury update. Jung-Ho Kang is progressing nicely from his recovery. Underwent the tibial plateau fracture surgery and the meniscus repair as well. The original timetable set for him when he suffered the injury in mid-September was 6 to 8 months, and nothing has changed with that recovery plan for Kang. Now, head athletic trainer Todd Tomczyk did say when you look at Jung-Ho Kang's recovery, the goal is to increase his frequency and volume of baseball activities. Now, this includes fielding and hitting, but no base running at this time. Now, he's going to spend the first week here of games with the big league club and all of his teammates as he continues his rehab. Maybe he'll go over to Pirate City at some point in time to participate in games. We don't know when that will be. Todd Tomczyk did not give us any more information as to what is next for him, but increasing the baseball activities, Greg and Bob, is a great sign for this guy in the 6 to 8 month timetable. He's right on track for it. We don't know if he'll be ready for opening day, but if he's not, he'll be ready shortly thereafter.
Jung-Ho Kang talking with members of the Korean media. And thanks to Robbie, as Francisco Cervelli steps to the plate. Injured on that slide, but heard Clint Hurdle and others say that particular play probably would not have been impacted by the new rule.
Yeah, he was, made contact below the knee, and he wasn't really all that wide in the bag to where he couldn't have reached back with his hand and touched it.
Cervelli flies out.
I think the slide that really got everybody talking was the Chase Utley slide.
So the new rule, 609J. A runner shall be called for interference if he does not engage in a, quote, bona fide slide. Doesn't slide before the base, doesn't attempt or is unable to reach the base, or doesn't attempt or unable to remain on the base, changes his path to the base to initiate contact, engages in a roll block, which was what Utley did, elevates or kicks the leg to intentionally initiate contact. new slide rule.
So you'll still be able to slide into an infielder and try and break up a double play. It's just they're going to try and
can't go out of your way.
That's the from what I can see, and that's always really kind of been the case. The umpires always had the ability to say to call the guy out at first base.
And again, I don't think the Mercer play had anything to do with that new rule either, right? Because didn't Mercer kind of try to make a tag between first and second?
Yeah, that was a tag play.
Yeah, was not even near the bag. It was against the Brewers. And it has popped up.
That's probably going to stay in play, I would think.
Murphy just now finds it, but bounce into the dugout.
Took him a while to get his bearings. If he would have got over the railing, he might have had a shot at it. That wind was bringing it back. And, of course, the spin of the ball always brings it back toward the field also.
Fernando Abad is the new Twins pitcher. Got Cervelli to fly out. Abad, a non-roster invite, signed a minor league free agent deal. Former Astro, spent the last couple of years with Oakland. Pirates will see Oakland in the American League West this year. They'll be traveling to Seattle and Oakland, part of interleague play. Opening day, Sunday, April 3rd against the St. Louis Cardinals. 1:05 start. Nationally televised game and the first game on the Major League Baseball schedule. Sunday, April the 3rd. Pirates and the Cardinals. What a way to kick off the regular season.
Yeah, might as well just get right to it.
Strap it in. Yep.
First day of the season. Let's go. Of course, it's really, I think everybody's kind of conceded it's more of a 3-horse race.
Yep.
And the Cubs, they made huge progress, of course, last season, but well, there's some favorites amongst a lot of people.
You see Josh Bell, Jameson Taillon, Jake Gobert there on Bell's right. Mercer pops up. 2 outs. Get on board with Bucko Baseball as a season ticket member. You get unprecedented year-round access to exclusive events and experiences. Choose from a full season, half season, or 20-game plan. You can customize your membership by selecting the experiences you want. So go to pirates.com/membership for more details. Do it right now. Pirates.com/membership. Be a part of all the action at PNC Park, that opening homestand, the Cardinals opening day. Following an off day on Monday the 4th. 2 night games with the Redbirds. April 5th and 6th. Brief road trip back home against the Tigers and Brewers. Get it all started. John Jaso, one of the new additions to this 2016 Pirates team. Heard Clint Hurdle talking about the fact that he decided to sign with the Pirates rather than go somewhere and be a DH. I think Clint Hurdle's words, he's a baseball player, so he wanted to learn this position of first base. Couldn't catch anymore because of the concussion issues he's had in the past.
I thought that was a nice little thing. You know, the way I always look at the DH, that's a nice quote right there. I think I'll use that later.
I think you've used it before.
Well, no.
Baseball player.
Well, no, I'm a Clint's quote.
I know.
He wanted to play baseball, so he didn't want to go be DH.
Right. Shallow center, and Jaso drops a base hit into center field. He's 2 for 2.
Got that one in on the hands a little bit, which was a good thing. Hit softly. Fell in.
Pirate fans are going to like John Jaso. He's an interesting guy. Got the dreadlocks going.
Well, when we were talking about him in that inning, and I was watching him out on the field, he really is involved out there, talking back and forth with Jay. He's not just standing there, waiting for something to happen.
And early on, Bob showed his commitment to learning this first base position, coming to mini camp, which is voluntary, but he stayed long after the voluntary mini camp to really dedicate himself to learning this position.
I wonder if he owns a first baseman's glove. My guess is he does.
Sean Rodriguez. That ball did something funny, much like we saw a ball hit yesterday. Ball knuckles into center field, a base hit for Sean Rodriguez. Jason Rogers hit a ball like this yesterday to left field. It knuckles back in the center.
That was a double breaker. You see that shot there, move right and then went for the dip. That's a breaking ball you could be proud of if you're throwing it.
Now Cole Figueroa struck out to end the second when Jaso took off on that delayed steal. It was not a caught stealing, rather a strikeout that ended that second. Cole Figueroa, originally a 6th round pick of the Padres in 2008, a .290 career hitter in the minor leagues. Time with the Tampa Bay Rays and New York Yankees system. Brief stint with the Yankees last year, big leagues. We'll talk to Neil Huntington, the Pirates general manager, in the bottom of the 6th inning about players like Cole Figueroa that he brought in. Maybe he makes the club as a utility player, and so much will hinge on Jung-Ho Kang's status. Robbie talking to us about how Kang is coming along. A 1-2 count. On the left-handed batting, Cole Figueroa. He fights this one off. And a little flare into the glove of the second baseman Polanco. Pirates leave a couple. 4 innings down here at McKechnie Field in Bradenton, Florida. It's a 1-1 ball game. A 1-1 ball game. Pirate Spring Training Baseball on Root Sports is presented by McDonald's. spring training, and before the game, one of the great people, Bob, I know you've known Ron Necciai for a lot of years, having some fun throwing out the ceremonial first pitch. A former Pirates pitcher, Ron Necciai, who pitched one of the greatest games in the history of professional baseball, May 13th, 1952, when he struck out 27 batters in a Class D Appalachian League game, pitching for the Bristol Twins in Bristol, Virginia.
Doesn't make any difference where that game was, who it was against. 27 strikeouts. Just remarkable. What a great guy Netch is. Just one of those guys that everybody loves him. I was down here years ago with him and the 60 World Series team for the Dream Week thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, even though he wasn't on that 60 team, it was like the way watching those guys interact with him in the clubhouse.
Like he was part of that team.
It was just so wonderful to see. And he is so humble and everything. You know, he's always asked about that game, 27 strikeouts, and he always kind of tries to play it down, and that's nothing to play down. I mean, Natch was one of those guys that was a true 100-mile-an-hour arm. And, back in those days, if you got hurt, then you found something else to do with your life. If he was playing now, I'm sure that, he would go on a couple of 60-day DLs, and something would be done, and he would come back and continue on his career. But just a phenomenal talent back at that time, and it's too bad that he didn't get his chance under the big lights, because he would have been something else.
Brief time with the Pirates in 1952 after that incredible performance on May 13th, 1952, but his career would end after suffering a rotator cuff injury. Branch Rickey once said that he was the third greatest pitcher he had ever seen, as Gregory Polanco makes a fine catch. Staying with that ball, that wind. Branch Rickey said Ron Necciai, behind only Christy Mathewson and Dizzy Dean. Talk about high praise. And this high fly ball, Polanco stays with it.
And Polanco playing a little on the shallow side, but still able to get back with that wind blowing and make that play. Yeah, that's pretty high praise. And Ron Necciai was a great pitcher and a great individual.
As good a person as he was a pitcher.
Just lives out here in Anna Maria Island.
See the breeze. Rob Scahill on the mound for the Pirates, fourth pitcher to work. As we always do in spring training, love to play general manager. Speaking of Branch Rickey. And Neil Huntington will be coming along in a couple of innings, but trying to figure out what the makeup of the team will be. And for years, there was a bunch of competition here in Bradenton for the Pirates as to who would come north with the team. But these days, position players, bench players, bullpen starters, aren't a lot of jobs to be had. Pirates have established themselves as one of the better teams in all of baseball. So to earn maybe a spot in that bullpen, Rob Scahill going to have to be at the top of his game.
A good question for Neil when he sits down with us is, has he noticed any difference in getting the 6-year free agents, the non-roster guys, to come to Pittsburgh because of the way the organization has moved in the last few years? It's got to be a difference.
Yeah. Well, I think that Clint Hurdle kind of alluded to it with Jaso. Though Jaso, he said, wanted to be a baseball player, but also wanted to come to Pittsburgh.
Well, look at Francisco.
Liriano,
yeah. He could have, when he re-upped.
Mm-hmm. Last winter.
Yeah, he could have went out there and got market value, which I'm sure would have been more money. But loves it here and was willing to maybe take a little less money to stay at Bucko.
John Jaso got leather on it, but couldn't flag it down. A base hit for Arcia.
And that's good to see. I mean, that's a great reflection on the organization, on Clint Hurdle, on Neil, to have those guys willing to do that. AJ last year coming back for less money. And the reality is, if you want to if you want to play in this atmosphere, if you want to play with these guys and wear that Pirate uniform, you're not going to be able to take the top dollar. That's just not the way things are. That's the reality.
That's as good as it gets right there, leading Harrison to the bag, tossing.
Nice job by Jaso, I thought.
1-1 ball game. Now the Pittsburgh Penguins open up back-to-back weekend games tomorrow, starting with a home game against the Calgary Flames. Coverage starts at 2:30. The Penguins pregame presented by Heritage Valley Health System on Root Sports. Penguins had a good year last night against the Rangers. Back, falling behind early. It was fun to have Doc Emmerich on the radio side with us yesterday.
Oh, man, you should be maybe looking out for your job.
Believe me, I am. I said after a half inning, he did play-by-play in the third inning on the radio side yesterday, and after a half inning, I took off my headset. I said to him, that is completely unfair. That is wrong. That you could go on the air and sound like you've been doing baseball for 40-plus years rather than hockey. The NHL voice on NBC Sport. Hey, speaking of hockey, by the way, belated happy birthday wish to another Doc, our buddy Mike Lang celebrated a birthday yesterday. The voice of the Penguins on the radio side. Michael Motorcycle, the Hall of Famer. Happy birthday, Mike.
Happy birthday, Michael.
Here's Brandon Kinsler, new pitcher for the Twins. See the new logo on all the spring training uniforms and caps. On the right sleeve there. Designed like a Florida interstate. And there's also the AZ in Arizona for those that train in that state. The ball bobbled and dropped by Santana, but recovers to throw out Harrison. Talking about Doc Emmerich on the radio side yesterday. He'll do some TV with us on the 9th, next Wednesday. Our next Root Sports telecast is coming up on Sunday. Back-to-back games on Root Sports against the Houston Astros and Philadelphia Phillies Sunday and Monday. 1 o'clock starts here on Root Sports. A dozen games coming your way from spring training. Sunday, it'll be Joe Block with Bob Walk. He'll make his Root Sports debut. Our new partner that we introduced pregame, Robbie and Smikowski, sat down with Joe Block, and we had him in our open. He is working with Steve Blass today. There he is, Joe Block. And Steve Blass, B&B. And Mel Check in the back. Is Mel awake?
Yeah, Mel's reading something, it looks like. See how close we are.
Yeah. Foul ball.
Spring training ballparks, you normally are TV, radio, you're right side by side. Not a lot of room. Especially here at McKechnie. Very cozy up here.
Friendly confines. It is cozy and quaint, this ballpark. And past the first baseman, Vargas.
Polanco's getting ahead of the bat to the baseball, isn't he?
It's 3 hits for him.
Sharply.
And a day automotive. Great day from last season. Perhaps the biggest moment from last year. Andy McPherson's walk-off home run against the Cardinals on July 11th. The Pirates to a 3.5 in first-place Cardinals. Weekend just before the All-Star break. 14th inning, a sensational, unforgettable, come-from-behind win. The Pirates, led by that man, Andrew McCutchen.
Really one of the great moments at PNC Park over the years.
Yeah.
Not just from last year. I mean, that was a special moment.
McCutchen has struck out looking and flied out. This will be his last at bat of this game. Danny Ortiz is scheduled to be coming in. We'll have some changes in the 6th. Polanco caught stealing in the first. 3 players have taken off from first base in this game.
Yeah, the Polanco caught stealing was kind of odd.
Yeah. There he goes again. And there'll be no throw this time. Polanco swiped 27 bags last year in 37 attempts.
But the odd thing about his first try was that he got down there and just stopped and got tagged out. But here he's going for the bag of the entire way, never looked back. And they had no chance. Yeah, you don't see many guys as big as he is, body size, as that successful at stealing bases. Really unique in that.
And now pickoff try at second. Second baseman Polanco sneaking in.
Well, he was definitely pushing his luck.
Jorge Polanco applying the late tag on Gregory Polanco. So 2-1.
Gregory Polanco is really wanting to steal third base. I think he's kind of taken this, okay, we're going to play this like the regular season, really to heart.
He's got Kinsler's attention.
He wants to go, yeah. You're looking out there at him, and he's just taking a little baby step, They can't get him to stop. And so the only thing you do is just keep holding the baseball and saying, okay, well, if you don't stop, you're going to be halfway and you'll be out.
Fouled off by McCutchen.
The Kinsler's got that leg kick to where it looks like he'd have a real good spin move. You know, where you get the big leg kick, come up, and then he would turn. I could see him picking a few people off, especially in situations like this where you know the runner is at least thinking about taking off the third. No, spin move.
There he is, just On cue.
It was
mid-season form.
It was the timing was a little ridiculous. There, Polanco broke to the bag like, what was he doing? If the spin move is on, you're supposed to kind of stay off, let the runner feel comfortable, just so he'll take off. When the pitcher lifts his leg, you're not even supposed to go to the bag. They need to work on that one. The whole purpose of the spin move is to get the runner to break toward third when you lift your leg. Well, if the infielder, whether it's the shortstop or the second baseman, is crashing in, that's probably not going to happen. You want them to lay back and say, okay, nobody watching you, go ahead, steal if you want.
And now Polanco's going to get caught off second after all. Ball bounced to the shortstop.
He had taken such an aggressive mindset that he wanted to steal, he wanted to get to third, that on just a routine ground ball to short, where was he going? Right now he's got to go back. Instead, he took 2 quick steps to third. As soon as that ball is on the ground to your right, it's got to be something you're not even consciously thinking about. It's just a reaction that you go back to the bag. During batting practice, when you're out at second base and you're taking your leads, you're practicing that. Every time somebody hits a ground ball on the left side, you've got to go back until it becomes second nature, where you're not thinking about it. It's just a natural reaction. Ground ball to my right, I'm going back. But that's the way that you get like that, is you go through those repetitions during batting practice when you're out there circling the bases.
McCutchen tried to run the other day. And now 2 on Marte. He has tripled off the wall in right center and lined out. He's 27 years old now. Coming off his first Gold Glove season.
Last time he was hitting, we were talking about where he possibly could end up stat-wise. Being 27 years old, I mean, he is coming right into those 3 or 4 years where he should be at his very best.
58.
Physically, he's right there at his peak. He's been around for quite a while now. He knows what to expect in different situations from different pitchers. What do you think about this outfield, Greg? If they can
all click at the same time.
If they can play to their capabilities and stay healthy all at the same time, it'll be an outfield that people talk about for a long time.
Marte had 19 homers, 81 RBIs last year, and hitting cleanup today. Possibility he'll be hitting cleanup opening day against the Cardinals. And who knows, with the 81 ribbies, different areas of the lineup last year, he could flirt with 100 RBIs in a given year. $19 home runs last season.
Well, the way McKechnie gets pitched around, I mean, there's always going to be a lot of opportunities to hit with at least Kutch on base, if nobody else.
Two and two. Brandon Kinsler, fourth pitcher for the Twins today. Tommy Malone, Ryan Presley, Fernando Abad, and now Brandon Kinsler. Marte bouncing to Santana for the force there. We'll see some changes on the field for the Pirates coming up in the 6th. 1-1 ball game.
Pirates Spring Training Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Allegheny Health Network, Health for All, and by Barrel Automotive. Visit barrel.com to learn more about our 3 conveniently located collision centers. Let's go Bucks!
1-1 ball game coming your way from McKechnie Field in Bradenton, Florida. Moving on to the 6th inning. Our first spring training telecast, and done for the day. Andrew McCutchen, Josh Harrison, and the rest of the starters. Wholesale changes. Let's go down to Robbie Innsmikowski.
I have John Jaso with me right now, Greg. We're talking about him and you being a Pirate here for the first time. What's all this like for you, making your way over after playing on the West Coast for a while, after starting your career with the Tampa Bay Rays? What's it been like in a Pirates uniform?
It's been...
First of all, I want to apologize for this complete clown show going on behind him. That was Jordy Mercer. He set that whole thing up when we started.
Okay.
How's it being a Pirate so far?
It's been great. It's been great getting to know all these goofballs here too, and I mean, good philosophy here. I guess the money that they put into the clubhouse and everything is very welcoming. And as far as first base goes, just getting my feet wet, getting them underneath me, and learning the ropes over there.
Well, one other thing you're doing here is making a lot of friends. You were making your way up. You gave your bat to a fan. What does that mean to you to be able to impact young kids like that, young baseball fans?
It's awesome, especially when it comes to young kids like that. Young boys and girls that are here, and you gotta know that they're looking at you like we're heroes. So carrying yourself as such, and just being a role model and all that is key here. And also, realizing if it wasn't for the fans, I wouldn't be here getting paid doing what I love to do. So it's all the credit goes to them.
Certainly some fantastic stuff and a great perspective from you. Let's discuss first base for just a second here. After spending your entire career as a catcher, what's the process like learning a new position and playing it?
Well, I mean, there's a lot more that goes into first base than people would first assume. With these first 2 games that I've played out here, me personally, I've run into a couple mishaps, but it's all a learning process out here. It's not like it's the end of the world or anything like that. You take those bumps as they go and you learn from them. And a lot of that has to do with knowing where people are set up defensively around you. I'm starting to realize now, like, Jay Hay can get to pretty much anything. Like, even a ball hit right at me, he's like right behind me, about to, he could field it, and I could just go to first base and catch it. And so learning that kind of stuff, and once you do that and you get the reps in, you start building those instincts. So that's what spring training is all about for me.
Neil Huntington has said this has been a process for a while in recruiting you and finding the right time to get you into a Pirates uniform. What have you admired about this franchise from afar?
Well, I've played against them a few times besides spring training, and spring training is always just a mess. But during the season, I mean, the field is awesome, and I got to play there I think 1 time, and as far as the clubhouse goes and the players that I saw across the diamond, I mean, it looked like they just had a lot of fun doing what they're doing. They're very dynamic, running all over the place. You see they got great athletes here, and it looks like they go out and get a good group of guys to fill in the uniforms and be in the clubhouse.
Well, John, you came from a small town, high school graduating class of 80, a walk-on in college. Now you're in the big leagues, and now you're our first McDonald's player interview of spring training. What does that mean to you to have this accomplishment?
It's unbelievable. I try not to take any day for granted. It's a blessing, and I know a lot of people would want to be in my shoes. I've watched a lot of people fight and not make it and everything. So I try and play the game for them and enjoy it to the fullest.
Great. Thank you, John Jaso.
Yep, you got it.
Greg, we're going to have a lot of fun getting to know this guy.
I'll say, we were talking earlier, Robbie, about John Jaso, how really popular he's going to become in a short amount of time. You can just tell he's a very engaging young man, and making some friends here at McKechnie, at bat to that young fan. You just tell he's got a great personality, and he's not done yet talking to some fans. John Jaso.
Yeah,
signed some autographs.
He's going to be at that fence a while.
Yeah.
A lot of baseballs looking at him right there.
Part of spring training, the fun part.
I love the fact that he knows he's going to have some mistakes out there, and it's a learning process, and he just when something doesn't go right, okay, I got to change that. Can't do that next time. And that will be the ground ball in between him and Jay. It'll be a while before he really gets down. Okay, I don't have to go get that one. He can. But from my own personal view, watch the slide.
Yep, right there. Watch that double play turn by the youngsters. Alan Hansen, Gifton Gope, and Dan Gamache. And Neil Huntington will join us next. 1-1 ball game. Back here at McKechnie Field in Bradenton, Florida, the Pirates and the Minnesota Twins tied at 1. Another beautiful day on the Sun Coast in this beautiful ballpark, McKechnie Field. Earlier we chatted with skipper Clint Hurdle, and we're pleased to be joined by the Pirates general manager Neil Huntington. Neil, we asked Clint this. We'll ask you about any differences this spring, last year, and the previous spring trainings for you.
Just the players on the field. Goal is the same, energy is the same. Guys are getting after it. Guys are getting prepared for the season. Yet at the same time, we've got some competition to make this club, and there's a great feel in camp. These guys are hungry. It's looking forward. It's learning from the past, and we're ready to go.
Greg and I were talking earlier on paper. This could be a very exciting, dominant bullpen you're putting together.
There's some power arms out there. There's some guys that have done some really good things in recent history with Melanson and Watson and Hughes and Caminero, and there's some guys that have had some success in the past as well, and Felice and Nicasio. It's versatile. There's multiple guys that can go multiple innings, and a chance to give Clint the opportunity to maybe be aggressive in getting a starter out of the game and not have to worry about having enough innings tomorrow or the next day. And we've got a competition for that last spot, and whether it's a left-hander, which would be ideal, or it's another guy that can give us multiple innings, that works as well.
Is it fair to say that kind of maybe not a trademark, maybe that's not the right word of yours, but you like the big, strong, hard throwers?
Well, it gives you a larger margin for error. I mean, that velocity in the mid-90s, and you don't have to dot your fastball, and in shorter exposures, that one time through the lineup, if you've got something to go with it, a secondary pitch to go with it, again, it just gives you a larger margin for error. Now, we do want different looks and guys that can sink it, and Jared Hughes coming in the middle of an inning to get a double play ball. Ideally, it's power with sink, and Jared brings that. Felice brings a different look this spring in that he'll be a guy that rides the ball up in the zone and gets some strikeouts and some pop-ups, which, again, is weak contact, which, as you well know, is what you're looking for as a pitcher.
I was always looking for that. Couldn't find it very often.
You had your share of absolutely.
Well, Neil, with that being said, and we touched on this also, if we like to play general manager, we all do, all fans. If put on your shoes.
So do I.
Yeah. Well, you're good at it. But the makeup of the bullpen, there just aren't many jobs. Maybe one, if knock on wood, everybody stays healthy. Maybe one shot for somebody.
As assuming health, yes, and that's a bit of a challenge. We recruited some guys early in the off season, thinking we went into the off season with three open jobs. We're not typically a club that's going to go out and spend a bunch of money in free agency. In the bullpen, there were obviously the Mark Melancon trade rumors, and we were trying to construct a deep and talented bullpen, whether Mark was anchoring it or Tony Watson was going to anchor it, depending upon where it went. We liked the addition of Nicasio and Felice. We obviously liked the ability to keep Mark out there, and it does. It gives us some power. It gives us some options, and yet we've still got a good number of arms here in camp that will compete for that 7th spot. And as much as I wish we would use 7 relievers all year, we're going to use probably closer to 12 to 13, and we're going to need some guys to be able to come up there and get outs for us.
How many starting pitchers do you think you'll need?
Oh, man.
Is there a number you ever put on it when the season starts?
You pretty much need to go in thinking you're going to use 8 or 9. And we didn't use that many last year, but, we're not too far removed from being a championship caliber team. And I think having 9 or 10 guys make 5 or more starts. And you need to plan for it. And
again, the Pirates being aggressive.
Learn what we can do, hit and run right there, gift tough pitch down and away, and couldn't handle it. But again, spring training, John Jaso earlier in the game trying a delay steal, trying to see what these guys can do. Clint trying to figure out how these different players can help this lineup and help this club in different ways. And but getting back to the bullpen, it'll be interesting getting back to the starting pitching. As we sit here now with Vogelsong, who threw the ball very well yesterday, Nice, a lot of soft contact, 5 hits, 4 of them soft, not the outcome you're looking for, but a good building block. And Jeff Locke, again, not the outcome you're looking for, but as he's trying to refine his delivery and refine the use of his stuff. Again, Ray felt like they had very good work days. You build the rotation around Liriano and Cole. It's a great starting point. Juan Nicasio, again, as you normalize or equalize his numbers coming out of Colorado, there's a guy that has successful stuff as a starting pitcher, had a great year out of the bullpen, or a very good year out of the bullpen last year for the Dodgers, and he'll be in the mix. Kyle Lobstein, again, some success as a starter in 14 with the Tigers. Not a great year last year, some shoulder issues off and on over the course of the season. Feels like he's healthy now. Moves the ball around very well in his start against the Tigers the other day. And we've got the young pitchers coming in Glasnow and Taillon that we're really excited about. Need some development time, but they're both showing some quality things here in spring training. They're also reminding us that they're young, and in Jamison's case, just needs time, needs experience, and against upper-level hitting, and needs to get out there again. And Tyler Glasnow just needs to refine some things. So there's 8 or 9 that we feel good about. Rafael Boscan is a guy that unfortunately got called up 3 times last year, never actually made an appearance. So maybe there'll be an appearance for him somewhere this year, and a handful of other young starters, Brault, Williams, Cool, that we like a lot and feel can help us at some point this year.
Well, one of the questions we had for you earlier, and Bob said we should ask Neil, so I wrote it down, about the fact that the Pirates are now one of the best teams in all of baseball, combined second best record in baseball 3 years running. Has it made it easier for you when it comes to signing some of these maybe 6-year free agents?
It's actually, we've passed the sweet spot, and now because we're a good major league team with established major league players, we don't have nearly the opportunity to sell that we once had. What we do have is a pitching staff, coaching staff that's highly respected and recognized as helping guys get better because they've done it year after year with a large number of guys. So there are pitchers that really are interested in coming here. We do have some bench opportunities that Cole Figueroa, or we put Jake Gobert on the 40-man roster, but Jake comes in here to compete. You sign a Matt Joyce late to come in here and compete to make the club. So it's a little bit of a mixed blessing, the fact that we are a good major league team. People want to come here. The fact that we have coaches that can help, they want to come here. At the same time, you look around and there's not nearly the opportunities that there used to be. Even in our first or second year that we were competing, we still tended to have more opportunity than we have to sell right now.
That's interesting. That goes along with success and winning. There are fewer jobs available.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You've got more stability. You've got more players that are just going to go out and get ready. And especially with the young players that we have coming, with the Moroffs and the Fraziers, the Diazes and Alan Hansen, Willie Garcia. I mean, those guys, 4A type players, those minor league free agent players, they look around and they see, okay, man, they may not be ready out of spring training, but if they don't have a need early in the year, they might just go to Max Moroff or they might just go to Willie Garcia versus giving me that opportunity. So you get to squeeze from both sides, and it becomes a tougher sell.
Here's one of the players that Neil's talking about, by the way.
What about the step up from the 4A type player? Not the upper echelon free agent, but the middle of the road type free agent that knows that, okay, you're going after him, so there is a spot for me.
Yeah,
let's say a Jaso, for instance. Like, use him as an example. Is that guy easier to say, okay, come and play with us because look, you got a chance for postseason here. We're a good organization.
Absolutely. That level of free agent has a much stronger interest in coming to Pittsburgh because of the quality of the team, because of the quality of the guys. It's a great clubhouse to be a part of. We have a chance to win. We expect to win. Our manager and again our staff, our coaches, our support staff, the facilities. It's a very good spot for one of those types of players. And John Jaso chose to come here in part because of all those things we just talked about, also in part because of the opportunity to go play first base and our commitment and willingness to give him that opportunity.
And a runner going again. Well, the aggressiveness continues. Dan Gamache is thrown out. We'll keep Neil Huntington, if you don't mind, Neil, for another half inning.
Not at all.
1-1 ball game. We're back at McKechnie Field in Bradenton, Florida. Our first telecast on Root Sports, the first of a dozen games coming your way from Florida this March, and a 1-1 ball game. Pirates scored in the first, Twins tied it in the fourth. Getting a chance to see maybe an opening day type lineup today, thanks to Clint Hurdle. Put a lot of those starters in there for you. Opening day April the 3rd. And now we're starting to see some of the younger players and still those trying to compete maybe for a bullpen spot. Saw Rob Scahill, Trey Haley a moment ago. Now Curtis Parch, one of those guys, Bob, you were talking to Neil Huntington, who's still with us, about these big, hard-throwing pitchers that Neil likes to bring in. Here's another one.
Yeah, Curtis was a guy that we brought in with a legitimate chance to come in and compete to make the club. Fastball, his first outing was down from where he sits, but normally it's low to mid-90s. And he has the interesting ability to get pop-ups and ground balls, and he also gets strikeouts in AAA and in his minor league time. Had a brief stint with Cincinnati a couple years ago, and a guy that we went aggressively after to come in here and compete to make this club as we were trying to put together a bullpen and give ourselves a number of options. But a guy that does a lot that we like.
Curtis Parch out there now. A player that Neil Huntington brought in. And Neil, Bob asked you about the bullpens that you like to build. I mean, Are you as confident this spring, again, knock on wood with health in mind, as you that this bullpen will be maybe as good as the one that you constructed the second half of last year with Joakim Soria?
Well, it'll remind us that we need to stay humble because we do like the talent in the bullpen, and yet we say year in and year out, the bullpen is the least predictable, the most volatile, and as a result, the most difficult to put together. So as soon as I say yes, we're going to have some guys struggle, we're going to have some guys get hurt, and the next thing you know, the wheels are going to fall off. But it is a spot. Again, you start with Mark Melancon and Tony Watson in the back end of the bullpen. You're in a really good spot. Caminero continues to grow. Jared Hughes just is the multi-purpose guy out there, whether he pitches the 8th or he comes in and gets a ground ball double play in the 5th. He's just such a valuable guy. And then again, Felice and Nicasio bring experience. They bring stuff. They bring a pitch arsenal to get good hitters out. And then again, we've got some versatility. What we want to do with that 7th spot. Again, assuming health. So on paper, Brownie, we do. We feel good about this bullpen. We felt good about bullpens in the past. There's 162 regular season games to play, and we'll see how it plays out.
We're seeing some young players here, Neil. Now, there's Harold Ramirez. Baseball America ranks him as one of the top 10 prospects in the Pirates system. Adam Frazier, who had a phenomenal year in the minor leagues, should have been the Eastern League batting title winner, but a rule nixed him from that. There's Danny Ortiz. You brought him in as a minor league free agent, but for those of us who know, been Pirate fans who watch guys like Andrew McCutchen and the starters, Josh Harrison, that's all well and good, but the fun part of spring training early on is to see the future right here with these guys that are around the diamond right now.
No question. You see Alan Hansen out there. You see Alan Hansen at second. You see Adam Frazier in right field. Again, a guy that's drafted as a shortstop, just fell short of the batting championship. Alan Hansen, a guy that can do a ton of things on the field, offensively, defensively, and it comes in here with a chance to make our club, depending upon where Gong is in his injury. And again, he continues to progress. Gift and Gope, just a great story that he's gotten this far. We believe he can play major league shortstop defensively. We're working to see where the bat takes us. You look around the outfield, Harold Ramirez, who can just flat hit. He's getting better offensively, getting better defensively, and it's a fun group, and there's more to come, and that's the part. Elias Diaz as a guy that's ready to catch in the big leagues right now. In our minds, our challenge is keeping him ready to catch in the big leagues in case we have him out of need. You see Josh Bell stay on a fastball in and hit an absolute missile in the left center field gap yesterday. He's learning, growing at first base, so there's no question this is a fun part of the game, and we've gotten down early, but yesterday those young guys battled back, and there's some fun at bats.
And Hansen tries to make the diving play. It skips off his glove into right, and Sweeney's going to end up at second base with a double. Ryan Sweeney almost off the glove of Alan Hansen.
Neil, I want to ask you a question about how much time and when does it start in the offseason of going over the previous year. We were talking earlier to Clint about the outfield positioning, about how you guys look like you're moving the outfield in a little bit here in spring training, and he was talking about looking at analytics from last year that we got hurt a lot on balls landing in front of the outfielders. And when do you start going back and looking at that, and how long do you spend looking at what happened last year, and is there things that can change? I mean, is that like right after the season's over, or how's that all work?
Yeah, that was an ongoing process, and we continue to try to evaluate ourselves on the fly. What adjustments do we need to make? What adjustments can we make? What adjustments do we need to consider making? And the 2015 season ended, unfortunately, with the final pitch of that game against the Cubs, and it took a couple days to lick our wounds a little bit and get back after it. But we were in Florida a week later. We were beginning to put the 2016 club together with the foundation of what went well, what didn't go well, what do we need to adjust as we go forward. And again, each department, each person within the organization takes an introspective look at what we did well, what we could have done better, what others could have done better, and how do we put together a club that continues to push forward and figure out a way to win a World Series. And whether it's personnel, whether it's systems, whether it's structure, whether it's staff, how do we take that next step?
Parch has it hit off his body and throws late.
So the modern analytics are a big part of that, to kind of break down the season and try to find some of those areas?
They are. There's a nice balance between subjective, which is what we see with our eyes, and what we feel and what our experience tells us. And then there's what Dan and Mike and all of our Josh Smith and a couple of other guys that we've added this year as that analytics department continues to grow. They take an objective viewpoint of it. And there are things that we think we saw, but maybe there's a whole nother level. And then there's some things that, you know what, hey, if we can make an adjustment here, man, it'll have a quantifiable effect as we go forward. And Walker, you're right. One of the things we've talked about is we had gotten a little bit too deep with our outfielders. And so we want to move those guys in a little bit, always cognizant of the damage that's done over our head. And it's much greater damage over our head, but we might have taken that a step too far and played a little bit too deep. And as a result, got exposed on some base running, guys going first to third, guys scoring on singles in front of us, too many soft contact balls dropping in front. So we'll make an adjustment this year, put our guys, incredibly athletic outfield, put them in a position to make plays in front and behind.
This is kind of, I guess, how the shifting came about, that through this making these adjustments, thinking about the previous year, a lot of base hits here, let's move the infielder over, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's taking a look at conventionally where guys stand and then taking another look at where the balls are hit and then drilling down deeper and deeper to how can we refine the process. And we have a minor league foundation of where our base defense plays. And it's fun to watch our guys out there right now. We're in that minor league base defense, which is not where most teams stand conventionally. We're a little bit shifted to the pull side, and we don't have information. This has become our base defense. The more information we have about the pitcher and the opposition hitter, the more we will adjust according to where we think the ball is going to be hit.
There's a little slick play from Gifton Gopay. Neil, thanks so much. Appreciate you stopping by with us.
Thanks, Brownie.
Best of luck to Neil Huntington this spring, the Bucco general manager, spending some time with us. 7th inning stretch from McKechnie, and it's a 1-1 ball game.
Pirates Spring Training Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by McDonald's All-Day Breakfast. Breakfast has been liberated. By Kenny Ross, Just Ask a Neighbor. And by UPMC, Life-Changing Medicine. Let's go Bucks!
Beautiful day for baseball in the Sunshine State here in Bradenton, Florida. 1-1 ball game. Pirates and Minnesota Twins. Remember, back on TV on Sunday and Monday, back-to-back on Root. Tomorrow, Pirates will travel to Orlando. Disney take on the Atlanta Braves. Tyler Glasnow will start for the Pirates. One of the minor leaguers that Neil Huntington mentioned, excited about, here is Juan Diaz. Sean Rodriguez started at third base, was 1 for 2. And a base hit. for Juan Diaz.
You know, it's one of the things impressive about Neil Huntington, but one of them, he's going through all of these names and telling us a little bit of this guy, this guy does this guy does that, and we got this guy. He has no notes sitting here whatsoever. This is all, I mean, it's all right here.
Yep.
It's just amazing how he just gobbles up that information and retains it like that. And I guess that's, any position, any job has to have a skill set. I guess for a general manager, that's one of them.
Yeah, he's really remarkable.
And it's not just his own guys that he knows every one of them just like that. He could have probably done the same thing for the Minnesota guys that are out there, or at least gave you something on each guy, which you have to know.
Yep. He talked about Juan Diaz. He talked about this man here, Harold Ramirez.
And flat hit.
Yep. A top 10 pitching, hitting prospect in the Pirates system. Josh Bell, Gifton Gope, Reese McGuire, some of the players you'll be seeing down the road.
Not a lot of room at the end right now, though.
Oh.
They'll have to wait their turn.
And Harold Ramirez, he can hit. First and second.
Right back over the top of the mound.
Time to cool off. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. And
definitely 5 o'clock. That's a tiki hut, isn't it?
Yep.
Up beyond center field.
Alan Hansen asked to bunt. Gets it down.
They're playing it like a regular season game. 1-run game with a couple of runners up in the scoring position. With Hansen, too, with his speed, even when he drops down a sacrifice bunt, you still put a little bit of pressure on the defense. I mean, that was almost right back toward the mound. And you see how quickly he got down the line.
Here's Adam Frazier.
And I think that Neil pointed out something there also about playing these like regular games is it gives Clint a chance to really find out something about some of these guys. Like, okay, Hansen, I asked him to sacrifice bunt. Is he going to get it down? Put on a hit and run. Is the runner or the hitter at least able to get a piece of the ball, foul it off to protect?
And bounce to first. The runner breaks and will be tagged out. Kepler throwing to John Hicks. Kepler started in the outfield. Max Kepler now at first. Makes that play to nail Juan Diaz at the plate. And 2 down. And here is Danny Ortiz. One-time Twins prospect, signed as a minor league free agent by the Pirates. First and third, 2 down.
There'll be a lot of discussion about the length of his pants between himself and the umpire.
Ball 1 on the Puerto Rican native. And a look from the boardwalk. Hit hard, but right at the first baseman, Kepler. Couple of hits in the inning, couple of men left stranded. And on to the 8th we go, still tied at 1. Well, on the latest Inside Penguins hockey, catch up with Sergei Gonchar in his first year of coaching. Join Dan Potash as he introduces 2 newer Penguins to an iconic Pittsburgh restaurant and much more. Inside Penguins hockey tomorrow after Penn's postgame on Root Sports. And here on Root Sports, we are bringing you the first of a dozen spring training games. Just a beautiful day here in Bradenton, Florida, and McKechnie Field. We're back here on Sunday. The Pirates host a split squad of Houston Astros players, and then the Phillies on Monday. Back-to-back TV games for you. Here's A.J. Schugel, one-time member of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Here's the schedule of games for you on Root Sports. Sunday and Monday, Astros and Phillies. We're back on Wednesday afternoon against the Red Sox, and Mike Doc Emmerich will join us for that one. Be back on TV next Friday as well. You really will be able to play general manager as you watch these games all month long. Roller, Alan Hansen.
Yeah, the Pirates and Root Sports really came up big, didn't they?
Yes. Really got together.
Work out a way. Spent a lot of money to make it possible to get all these games on television. They'll all be evening replays also, won't there?
Some will be replayed.
The ones that are live in the evening, they won't be.
No. Although, actually, I wonder if they wouldn't replay them after, because they do that during the regular
season.
They'll replay
them the next morning.
Yeah, sometimes they replay them like at midnight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the next morning. Here is Buck Britton facing A.J. Schugel. Time for some photos. Aha. It popped up. Hansen makes the catch. Well, 2 up and 2 down for A.J. Schugel. This is his second outing. He pitched a scoreless inning against the Detroit Tigers on Wednesday. As you heard Neil Huntington say, barring injury, and of course that's always a possibility, it is going to be tough. That one spot really in the bullpen available. Danny Santana to the plate 0 for 3 today. Francisco Liriano started and was perfect. 6 up, 6 down, struck out the first 4 men he faced. Looks like Schugel's going to have a quick 1, 2, 3, 8th inning. Yeah. Juan Diaz makes the catch. Heading to the bottom of the 8th inning. Anna Maria Island. Beautiful look. The 1-1 ball.
is presented by the authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Out of the 8th inning now here in Bradenton.
Wind's kicking up.
Yeah.
Keith, ball on the ground.
McKechnie ballpark that has had a rich history and has undergone some renovations. Ballpark opened up in 1923 as City Park, hosting a number of major league clubs. It was Braves Field for a while, renamed McKechnie Field after the Hall of Fame player and manager Bill McKechnie. In 1961, the Pirates have trained here since 1969. It has been a wonderful relationship.
Been here so long, players used to come across the bay on ferries.
Really?
Yep. They'd take the ferry over here and play the road game. I mean, that's what Steve told me. I have to take it for his word.
His word, yeah. Steve Blass, you mean you think he was one of the guys that went over on the ferry?
Oh, yeah. They didn't have that bridge then, I know that.
Here's Reese McGuire. Reese McGuire, the first-round pick of the Pirates 3 years ago, 14th overall that year. And again, one of the top prospects in baseball. Played right here for the Bradenton Marauders last summer. And he goes down on strikes, facing Ryan O'Rourke. Reese McGuire's first at bat. Starling Marte in this position of the order was 1 for 3 with an RBI triple in the first inning, the only run scored for the Pirates. Now the catcher, Ed Easley. 1 hopper, 2 outs. And we'll get the chance to see Gift and Gopay. A slick fielding shortstop.
This is a guy that you really have something if he could ever get that bat going.
Gift and Gopay. Petersburg, South Africa. "26 years old. Gave up switch hitting last year, so now bats exclusively from the right side. As Neil Huntington said, he play shortstop in the big leagues right now. He's that good defensively.
And from what we've seen, maybe be one of the better defensive shortstops in the big leagues. That's why you look at him and say, could he just, maybe if he was like a 250 hitter or something, I mean, you would have just a great player. Well, maybe just becoming a right-handed hitter only, maybe it'll be the thing that gets him going. Need another run on the board to really raise that up, huh?
That's right. And Gift and Gopay draws the walk. So Ngopay, who played both Altoona and Indianapolis last year, gives way now to Dan Gamache. And Gamache with the strike called. One ball, one strike. Gamache, last year at Altoona, outstanding season. And a 2-1 count. Gamache, last year Altoona and Indianapolis, and also played in Mexico this winter. Figuring the Pirates have been running all game long.
Got to run now.
Why not send Ngope?
They've run with guys that aren't really all that fast, so Ngope has some speed. Maybe he can make it. Then we need a single and 3 outs, and you can raise the flag. There was no Jolly Roger on that ship we were on earlier, I noticed.
It's spring training.
Oh.
Yeah. Once the regular season comes,
I think it was kind of a Spanish galley. I'm not sure it was a pirate ship.
That's all right. We appreciate folks from the DeSoto Historical Society.
They definitely had a treasure chest.
They did. Oh, yeah, they did. And Ngope watches Gamache called out on strikes. And we move to the 9th inning. 1-1. The DeSoto Monument here in Bradenton. We're talking about the DeSoto Historical Society helping us out in our pregame open, coming your way from Bradenton, Florida, spring training 2016. 1-1 ball game. Pirates scored their run in the first. The Twins scored theirs in the fourth. Francisco Liriano for the Pirates, 2 scoreless. Mark Melanson pitched the third. Neftali Feliz gave up the run in the 4th inning. And we have seen Rob Scahill, Trey Haley, Curtis Parch, A.J. Schugel, and now Jorge Rondon. 28-year-old Venezuelan native.
And all these pitchers that go out there, they know that the odds are, with only perhaps one spot open, that it's going to be tough. But as Neil said, there's going to be a lot of relievers on this team this year. And so every one of them, even if they don't go north with the big league team, they have to be in shape. They got to be ready to go because they might be called up just 2 weeks later. That has to be in your mind all the time when you're trying to make this club.
And fairly nice play initially by Dan Gamache, moving far to his right, but it was behind the pitcher Rondon covering, and It'll go as a hit. Get on board with a new Pirates 12-pack plan fueled by Sheets. Lock in the best seats at PNC Park with a made-to-order plan or weekend plan. Plans include postseason pre-sale opportunities and free food from Sheets. Get your 12-pack today at pirates.com/12-pack. Well, the Twins have a man on here in the ninth. Darren Mastriani at the plate. Alfredo Tovar aboard with the hit. And Jorge Rondon, who has had big league experience, was claimed off waivers by the Pirates. The Orioles let him go at the end of October. Also time with the Cardinals and Colorado Rockies. Jorge Rondon. Bunted foul.
Yeah, good thing that one had a lot of spin on it. If that one would have sat down, that would have be a very difficult play. Might have caught the very edge of the grass also and kicked it foul. So a lot of folks have decided to head home early.
Next home game will be Sunday here at McKechnie. It'll be on Root Sports as the Pirates host the Astros. Rondon on the mound for the Pirates this afternoon. One of 30 pitchers in camp. Pirates still have 61 active players in Major League camp. 30 pitchers, 6 catchers, 17 infielders, and 8 outfielders. Another bunt popped up. Rondon will make the play. Mastriani not able to get the job done as he bunts the ball to the pitcher. Brings up Carlos Quentin.
Well, Rondon showing a little quickness there. That foul territory. Will pop up. Melanson-like.
Been watching.
Like Melanson.
Cat-like quickness.
He might be
Mark
the best
Melanson.
at getting those little short pops.
Loves it.
I would say Melanson could probably go to the dugout and catch one. And would be willing to do that, too. Would like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another part, I think, about playing first base and learning it here with the Pirates. They're learning those pitchers. Like somebody like Melanson, he is so quick and so good at getting the first base. Don't ever take a chance at a ball going through that hole if you're the first baseman. Go ahead and get that one. You know Melanson's going to be standing there. And also, if you don't get it and it's a routine ground ball to second, go ahead and peel off. Let Jay throw the ball to Melanson.
That's a good point.
Because I was thinking that when Melanson and Jaso had that little problem over there,
right?
It was like, just let Melanson have that ball.
That's a great point, really.
But he doesn't know that,
right?
I mean, Melanson was so good, he caught the deflection.
Mm-hmm.
So
there was a play in the third inning. Melanson came on to.
But and it goes the other way too. There's also guys that wow, he's not going to get over.
Right.
So I have to be at that bag no matter what. But that's all going to be part of it, is learning the pitching staff as far as how good are they fielding the position, how good are they at getting the bunts, how good are they at covering the bag, who's quick, who's not.
Boy.
The first baseman really has to know his pitchers, their defensive abilities.
Runner goes. And a nice throw by Ed Easley. It looked as though they were going to get the runner. Umpire rules him safe, so Tovar swipes second.
I see this on the replay. Did Hansen, you think, take this ball a little bit in front of the bag and have to reach back for the tag?
That's possible.
Yes, he was standing well in front of the bag, and as he caught it, then he had to reach back to make the tag, and that opened up a little room. Now, if the ball is going to bounce, if it's a low throw, then you kind of have to go out there and get it. You don't. But I think in that case, it would have got there easily on the fly. And ideally, you just want to catch it and be able to go straight down and make the tag, not have to reach back with the ball.
Three-two count on the veteran Carlos Quentin. 0 for 3 in this one. Fights this one off. And Carlos Quentin's going to give the Twins the lead here in the ninth. An infield hit, a stolen base with one out, and the base hit by Quentin.
Didn't get much of it. Might even broke that bat. Just enough. I don't think it mattered whether that ball was handled cleanly in center field or not.
Joe Benson at the plate for the Twins. His first at bat. Joe Benson trying to earn his way back to the big leagues. Spent time with the Twins back in 2011. Bounced around various minor leagues, played some independent league ball last year. And re-signed as a minor league free agent in November. 1 ball, 2 strikes. You're a Twins fan?
Got one of those new fangled watches on. Keeps track of everything.
A Fitbit?
Yeah. I was thinking about, I was going to get one of those, but I was afraid I'll burn it out. All my activity.
Oh, diving play made there by Hansen shows off his incredible athleticism and working there with Gifton Gopay to get the out.
Absolutely a beautiful play. I mean, most of the time you do something like that, you're happy to get the hitter out. Not only did he get an out, he got the lead runner. Heck of a job. A lot of athleticism on that play.
Brings up John Hicks, catcher.
Hi, boy.
Alan Hansen has the tools. And the Pirates hoping that maybe he can kind of put it all together, and sometime the mental part of the game is what leaves Hansen on occasion. Oh, 1-2 on Hicks. Down on strikes. That's it for Jorge Rondon, giving up a go-ahead run, going to the bottom of the ninth. And the Twins now lead it 2-1. Pirates spring training presented by McDonald's continues this weekend as the Bucks host the Houston Astros here at McKechnie Field. Catch all the action Sunday starting at 1 on Root Sports. So glad we could bring you a dozen games this spring, by far the most ever in the history of Pirates baseball. At times over the years, broadcast may be a handful, but thanks to the hard work of the folks at Root Sports and the Pirates, Doug Johnson, Adam Elmore, Pete Toma, Sean McClintock over at Root Sports, Frank Coonley, the Pirates team president, Mark Garda, Brian Recchi, Trevor Gooby.
Greg, I'm sure it was you. It was the same with you when you were young. When you got those broadcast games, when there was very few of them from spring training, they were gold.
Oh, no doubt. You could not wait for that first spring training game.
I mean, actually, see, and I wasn't stuck in snow either. I was in Southern California,
right.
But just to see that first baseball game out there in the spring, it was either then it was the Vero Beach with the Dodgers or Palm Springs with my Angels.
Both those teams now train in Arizona.
Knowing now, thinking about it, like how did the Angels train in Palm Springs by themselves? There was nobody else around.
What did they do? Who did they play?
Well, teams had to come all the way from Arizona, I guess, to play them. It's not like it was going across the country or anything, but that's a pretty good drive.
Yeah. So, it's not going from Sarasota to Braden.
No, it's a little further. It'd be like going from here to Atlanta.
Yeah. Of course, you look at the various spring training sites over the years, even for the Pirates. Used to train in Cuba one year.
Well, yeah. Teams used to play train in Southern California. Right. Like I know Burbank, I think, had somebody training there.
I think the Pirates were out there one year. Juan Diaz draws a walk, facing another pitcher, Mason Militakis. There's Paul Molitor, hoping for better things. Last year was better. After 4 straight years of 92-plus losses, the Twins won 83 and 79, and ended up just 3 back of the second wild card. Of course, they play now in the same division as the world champion Kansas City Royals.
They don't make a lot of managerial changes in Minnesota.
They do not. Tom Kelly, Ron Gardenhire, and Paul Molitor. That's the way it's been for about 30 years.
As long as I can remember, way back. Maybe all the way back to, was Ray Miller before Tom Kelly?
My gosh, I think you're right. I think Tom Kelly replaced Ray Miller.
I think so. The point being is they don't make those changes with a manager lightly. Kind of like the Steelers and their head coaches.
That's right. Hit hard by Harold Ramirez.
Like
2 for 2. It is fun to see a guy that, in case you missed it, Neil Huntington in the 6th inning was kind of going around the diamond looking at the Pirates' future. And when he got to Harold Ramirez, said this guy can just flat out hit. And he is 2 for 2. Brings up Alan Hansen. We've talked, you and I, Bob, about what fun spring training was about maybe 7, 8, maybe 9 years ago when the Pirates were, you could see they're getting better, but especially in their system. And they had a bunch of comeback wins one month. And it was because later in ball games, the younger players would come in.
And there you could see they were taking the game much differently than the older guys, and they would come in and I remember Pedro Alvarez was a big part of that group. It seemed like he would come in the 6th inning or 7th inning of a ball game, and he'd be 2 for 2 with a couple of really rockets. And Garrett Jones was in that group, I think.
I think so. I think Marte was in that group. I think Josh Harrison was in that group. Mercer was a part of that. So it was fun back then to watch the players of the future, and we're seeing that now. We just saw Harold Ramirez, now Alan Hansen. Alan Hansen.
And it was another guy that we're not mentioning, McCutchen.
Right.
I remember when he was first coming up and we'd see him come in here, we'd just be amazed at his skill and how advanced he was compared to his age.
Chop toward third. They'll get it out there and throw to first base. No chance to get Alan Hansen with the force and one down. Hansen on at first. Diaz erased at third. Harold Ramirez moves to second. Bench applauding Carlos Paulino with that block. Adam Frazier ended up second in the Eastern League batting race last year with the Altoona curve.
How did it turn out that he got beat up with a rule?
Yeah, there's a Bowie Bay Sox first baseman, Trey Mancini, the Orioles organization, who ended up the batting title winner because of there's a base hit to left, should tie the game, and will. And the runner is going to move up 90 more feet as the ball is misplayed in left field. So, well, Bob, we were talking about a few years ago. We saw the players of the future in spring training come up big. Reynaldo Rodriguez overruns the ball. The game would have been tied anyway, but his error allows the potential winning run to move up to third base.
Yeah, I mean, this is a heads-up move too. With one out, you want to maybe take a little bit of a gamble to try to get to third. So you see the ball mishandled? Go for it. Now the infield has to come in.
And the batter, Danny Ortiz, the former Twins prospect. Signed as a minor league free agent by the Pirates.
And lined out to first, his first time up on a breaking ball from a left-hander. He really was, he hung in nicely on it. He's facing a left-hander again. He's hanging in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a sign when you throw that fastball up there and the guy's slow to get out of the way. That means the breaking ball, he's not going anywhere. He's not afraid. He's staying in there.
And ball three. Danny Ortiz at AAA Rochester in the Twins organization last year. Hit 17 home runs, drove in 78. But with guys like Byron Buxton and Miguel Sano, and they'll finish off an intentional walk. There's no room for Danny Ortiz with the Twins. He's hoping to fit in the Pirates organization as Reese McGuire. Wouldn't this be fitting? Reese McGuire, the former first-round pick, to end it. Get the Bucks a W. Reese McGuire, Baseball America has him ranked as the 6th best prospect in the Pirates organization. Oh, nice play there to get the out at the plate. For the second out.
Yeah, that was a fine play. They're not playing in.
Santana quickly gobbles that ball up and fires to the plate. Danny Santana, who started the game at third, and now at second. It'll be up to Ed Easley, the catcher, with 2 outs.
Well, there's nobody warming up in either bullpen, Greg.
Looks like this game's going to end in a tie.
We're going to have a shootout.
Yeah.
We need this run now.
And a 1-1 count to Ed Easley. Francisco Cervelli started and flied out a couple of times. Pirates catcher hit 5th in the order today. Clint Hurdle had many of his starters in the game. Josh Harrison led off and played second base. Gregory Polanco was in right. Andrew McCutchen. Starling Marte hit cleanup, was a DH. And Cervelli, Jordy Mercer, John Jaso at first. Sean Rodriguez played third, and Cole Figueroa was the starter in left today. Now Ed Easley trying to win this spring training game. Get Adam Frazier home from third. Look out, now it's 3-1. Full count, and with nobody in the bullpen, could come down to this last pitch, either a win or a tie. Two outs. And Adam Frazier at third with the bases loaded. Ball headed toward the seats.
In the stands. It is. Want to hear your call. Save for spring games, eh?
No, sir.
You don't?
No, come on. You got to save that stuff for the real stuff. Yes. You know that. Ed Easley, who played 4 games with the St. Louis Cardinals last year. Pop up to shallow left. Well, hold on to it.
Yeah, we can't raise it,
no,
but just
keep it right there.
Yeah.
This game is going to end in a tie. And that's how we end our first telecast on Root Sports. Kind of fun. See the Pirates minor leaguers come through with an RBI single to tie the game at 2. So a little bit of everything.
Well, Greg, we've had some runs scored on us the last couple of days, so this was nice. A little bit of a pitching game.
Yeah, it was good to see. Pirates postgame presented by Allegheny Health Network is coming up next from the studio. For Bob Walk and the crew, we'll see you again on Sunday. 2-2 the final here from Bradenton, Florida.